In our case, we have set up our demo machines in AWS. Now let's review our environment setup for Ansible demos. Let us navigate to the AWS Management Console. Here we are in the AWS EC2 dashboard. On Instances listing page, as you can see, we have already launched one Ansible host and the two target test hosts, Node 01 and Node 02. And you will notice all three hosts are T2.micro instance type, which is pretty small instance in the AWS cloud, and it is also eligible for AWS free tier. Now we have not included demos to launch EC2 instances, as per feedback from our past students. They don't like to go through basic setup steps, and this course is focused on Ansible. We have kept AWS specific setup out of scope for this course, but if you are interested in these steps, you have some options. 1. Follow the instructions provided by AWS. 2. Check out some of our other AWS specific courses which explain the processes in detail. 3. Ask any questions directly to the instructors. Anyway, we have launched it in a single virtual private cloud in the same AWS availability zone called AP Southeast 1A, which is in Asia Pacific Singapore AWS region. Availability zones are individual AWS data centers deployed in a particular geographical region. These hosts have private IPs as well. Now, the way AWS works, each time we restart our machine, AWS will assign it a different set of IPs, public and private IPs. We will need to connect to our Ansible host via a remote SSH session, so we will need its public IP address. So we will keep track of this public IP address as it changes. And for connecting to our test nodes, Node 1 and Node 2, we will just use the Ansible host to connect into these test nodes via their private IP addresses respectively. So basically, the Ansible host will also act as a jump host or a proxy for us to connect to our test nodes via private IP addresses. Now we will start with our Ansible installation process. Installing Ansible is a straightforward procedure. It involves installing some packages on our Linux machine. Ansible does not run as a service. We just install the related packages and then straight away we can start executing Ansible commands. We will use the apt-get commands to install the relevant packages. This set of commands will add the necessary Ansible repositories to the PPA repositories and then using the apt-get install command, install the Ansible packages and its related dependencies. So let's proceed. Now we are going to proceed with Ansible installation within our test environment. So here we have logged into our Ansible host via SSH. We logged in via the public IP address. We have logged in as a root user so that we can conveniently install all the required packages. But of course, this is not a recommended practice in production environments. You should use a user with appropriate permissions and elevate the privileges using sudo command as requirement. So this is the same machine which we reviewed earlier within our EC2 dashboard. To see this in AWS console, let's navigate to the EC2 dashboard in AWS console. Here, select Instances from the left panel where we can see Ansible host. To confirm again, we are going to install Ansible only on this Ansible host. We are not going to install anything on Node 1 and Node 2. Since Ansible is agentless, we are going to leave both those nodes as it is. Now go back to our command prompt and execute the necessary commands to install Ansible. First, we will install the PPA, which stands for Personal Package Archive. We will execute sudo apt-get install software properties common. Next, we will install the Ansible repository by executing the command sudo apt-add repository ppa:/ansible/ansible. It asks for confirmation. Press enter to continue. Now the Ansible repository has been added to the list of our package repositories. Let's update all our packages now. Execute sudo apt-get update. This step may take a few minutes, so wait for it to update everything. And now that our packages are up to date, let's execute sudo apt-get install Ansible. Now the package manager will go out and download the necessary packages and the dependencies and install it on our machine. Okay, cool. So Ansible is now installed on our server. Now to verify whether we have installed Ansible correctly, we can just execute Ansible command, and we should see detailed help output for Ansible. This verifies that Ansible is installed and configured correctly. To verify the version of Ansible, we can execute Ansible version, and you can see we have installed Ansible version 2.2.0.0. This is the latest version of Ansible as of recording of this course. This output also informs us that the config file is located at /etc/ansible/ansible.cfg path. So that completes the installation of Ansible on the master host.